All right, thanks, Danny. Give Danny a hand. He volunteered, stepped up to help out. He just he called me or emailed me one day and said, "Hey, can I help out?" And I said, "Yes." If somebody asks if they can help, what do you say? Yes. Awesome. Well, let me get my internet up here. I just got the code from Tyler. While I'm doing this, let me close this. Okay. Okay, so... Okay, how many of you guys were here last week? Okay, so what did we talk about? Last month, yes. I keep saying last week. It seems like it's a week. It goes by so fast. You guys remember what our topic was last time? Faith, right. So attitude, faith. So one of the things that when we talk about real estate and getting involved in real estate, we focus a lot on the mindset side of things because it's really important. As a matter of fact, one of my mentors says that the mindset is 85% of your success. Money management skills is about 15%, and 5% is the actual tech. So we really focus a lot on the mindset side of things, but today we're going to focus on the 5%. Does that excite some of you guys? Because I know that's what everybody really wants, is they want the tech. They want to know, how do I do this thing? I'm excited about real estate. I love real estate. I just want to know how to do this. So tonight we're going to talk a little bit about the tech. And what I want to do is we're just going to get into deals, how I evaluate a deal. I'm going to call it the quick and dirty. So what that means is, how many of you guys have, well actually let's do this. How many of you guys made an offer on a piece of real estate in the last 30 days? Awesome. Give those guys a hand. Okay, so let's see, who did it? Keep the hands up. There you go. Oh, you did sign the waiver, right? So these are lifesavers because, why? Real estate can be your lifesaver. Okay, did anybody close on a piece of, or get an offer accepted in the last 30 days? Awesome. Was that the one you showed here? Okay, so I won't ask you to tell us about it because you already did. You want to tell us about your deal you got accepted?
Very similar to his. Bankruptcy short sale. Got about 10,000 in rehab and about 10,000 court fees.
Oh.
Right at the bank right now.
So it's a bankruptcy short sale?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's in the bankruptcy.
Trustee accepted the contract.
Mm-hmm.
We put an offer, we countered, we settled. And so the court has accepted that amount of money. And now it's gone to Wells Fargo. And we're hoping, because the court accepted it, Wells Fargo will just rubber stamp it.
Right.
And we're happy with that.
Awesome. You ready? Give him a hand. Here you go, Sky. So before I get into the what I'm going to call the quick and dirty, and the reason I call it the quick and dirty is because you just want some real quick and dirty numbers that once you get it under contract, then you can clean it all up with going in and doing your inspection and really finding out how much it's going to cost you to do the deal. But how many of you guys have gone in and looked at a piece of real estate and you just wasn't sure if you could make this happen? And what most of the time what happens is we go in and we look at it. At least this is what happened to me when I first got started. Is I'd go in and look at it and I'd analyze it to death. And then what happens?
Somebody else buys it.
Yeah, somebody else buys it while you're trying to figure it out. So if you can figure out how to put the property under contract quickly and know that, kind of where you want to be, would that be advantageous? Awesome. But before I get started, I want to write something down here. We got to do a little bit of the mindset, all right? Okay. Understand success is not logical. I did a talk on this last year in a lot more detail. Anybody remember that talk that I did? Was anybody here? You were here? Success is not logical. And if you think that this business is a logical business, you're not gonna make it. I need to plug in my battery. Sorry, just a sec. You're not going to be successful because success is not logical. This is not a logical business. So if you're a logical person, you can still make it. You just got to get by the fact that there's a certain way that you're going to do this business, and it's going to be that way every single time because it doesn't happen that way. How many of you guys are active real estate investors right now? Is what I'm saying the truth or not? Yes or no? Huh?
Is every deal different? Absolutely.
Every deal, exactly. So to have success, you must understand success is illogical. Nothing happens sequentially, just like this deal that Sky is talking about. Logically, you would think that the bank would, or that you could just get it out of the court system and make it happen, but it just doesn't happen that way. Logically, I thought that deal that I closed on or that I bought last year, that my offer for $80,000 would have been accepted by the bank, right? Logically, but they didn't want it, so they let it go to foreclosure, and I bought it for $60,000 instead. Is that logical? There's no logic to that at all. Logical for me, yeah. So also, success is grateful. To have success, you got to have profound gratitude. You guys are back there commenting, oh wow, you're in a good mood. If you guys knew what I was going through right now, you would be like, how come you're smiling? When you do a lot of real estate like I did last year, there's a lot of things that happen that you're trying to work through. And I really appreciate what Victoria had to say the other day about the stock market that really kind of helped me put it into perspective. Because, I had what was my goal last year? Anybody remember? What goal did I have last year? 24. To buy 25 properties last year, right? I came pretty close to that. It wasn't actual 25 properties, but almost 25 doors, about 20 doors that I got. I was fortunate enough to land a 9-unit that really helped jumpstart that. And then I was fortunate enough to spend all winter fixing broken water pipes because we had all these these water spells, these freezing spells. So, but I am very grateful to have that property. Also, I remember we were talking about having faith, and I gave you the flat tire scenario. Having faith and just being thankful for different things that happen in your life. And I said, if you get a flat tire, you could be all down in the dumps. Maybe it's saved from an accident, right? I got a story for you. So, our car, the car that I'm driving out there, it wasn't working. It was like, I could not get this thing to run. I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it, so I took it into the shop, and the catalytic converter all up. So we get the catalytic converter fixed, and we're driving down the road, and it's like shaking really bad. I'm like, what is wrong with this? Why is it shaking so bad? And I'm racing to Home Depot. I gotta get some stuff, and I pull into the parking spot, and I hit the curb, and I get up there, and I get out, and I got a flat tire. I'm like, oh, now what? I got a flat tire, and it's pouring down rain, right? You know, it rained a little bit last month, so I go in, do my shopping, call my guy that is helping me out. I say, hey, can you bring me my jack out? And he actually changed the tire for me. I thank God for good help. So we get the tire back on there, and we pull out, and it's not shaking as bad anymore. We'll come to find out the wheel that I had on was bent. I'm thinking I had some major problem with my tire. I mean, with my car, the front end, something's going wrong, and I got a bent wheel. Am I happy that I have a bent wheel? Not incredibly, but I'm happy that I don't have to do all this major front end work to my car. So I'm very grateful and thankful for that situation. So the challenges in your life, they create opportunity to learn and change for the better. And the challenges refine your character. So be grateful for the things that hurt most, because you're going to learn something out of that. What I want to do now is get into how to evaluate a deal, how I evaluate a deal, and then what I'd like to do is, how many of you guys are working on any properties right now? Okay, so we'll just do these live. We'll just evaluate some deals and see how they look. Does that sound good? Is this something that would be exciting for you guys?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, but first, my internet didn't work. Hold on here. Is Tyler still here? He take off? Okay, there we go. Connect. There we go. I think I got it. So before I do that, I want to show you guys something that's really cool here. This is a little bit of a fun thing. Maybe. Oh, right here. Okay. What's our connection like? How many of you guys have Windows 8?
Absolutely refused.
Bottom Mac.
Windows 8 is frustrating.
I looked over Windows 8 and said, no, I'll keep my 7, thank you. Keep my NT.
Oh, okay, here we go. Oh, no, stay out there. I'm trying to get my screen to share over here, but it's...
But it's usually a shift and F.
Yeah, I do, and the window pops out and then it goes back before I get a chance to... Oh, okay, duplicate. There we go. Has anybody been to a movie lately in the last couple of months, couple weeks actually?
Yep.
So this has nothing to do with real estate. It's just a little fun thing. I'll set it up. My assistant, Deborah, her sister wrote a book called The Execution. And because she's my assistant, this book, they're trying to make a movie out of it. And so they asked me and my wife to be extras in this movie. So I'm going to show you guys the trailer. So when you go to the theaters, you can say, I know that guy. You can turn the lights down a little bit if you want to see that. And I don't know where this audio is on this, why it's not. There's actually some cool audio. So this is, yeah, go ahead and turn it down a little bit. So this is here in Spokane and in Post Falls. It was actually up by the park in Post Falls is where we did this filming. So this is kind of some of the cool things you can do when you don't have to go to a job every single day. You can take a little bit of time. You know, the real estate kind of allows you to do. I don't know why the sound's not working. The sound's really cool. This scene here was pretty awesome how they did that in the studio in the green screen. So that's me right back here dancing. Right there. And then my wife is right. So we're movie stars for a second. Right there. So who says we can't have a little bit of fun in real estate, right? And this is my assistant right here, Deborah. And if you pause it, you can see her laughing right there. She's trying not to laugh. Right, Deborah? Yeah, this was really a lot of fun. It's like, now I know why actors want to be actors. It's a lot of fun to do. This was pretty cool how they did this, the multiple takes on this. So this is me right there. So I got to tell you guys a story on this. So you guys that see me, I smile a lot. And so this is supposed to be like this scene, we're attacking. And it was really cold out. And they kept saying, stop smiling. You're supposed to be a killer, killing people. You're in battle. They said they're gonna put the mask on me. Yeah, it's set in the 14th century. It's a really cool. So this scene here, we're all kind of in the background. Now you notice the main character here, and then the quiver of arrows right here, and then there's this guy back here, but his face is covered. It's because he's smiling. So if you go to a movie at the Regal Cinemas, they're playing this right now as one of the trailers. They're trying to sell this as a movie, but anyway, just thought I'd share that. You can hit the lights back on. Has nothing to do with real estate, but it's a lot of fun.
Is that castle for sale now?
The castle, yeah. Actually, it does have something to do with real estate. I could write that off because we actually filmed this on real estate. Okay, how do I exit out of this? So it's The Execution. I think it's going to go pretty big. I mean, they got some pretty big names that are interested in it. So back to real estate. Okay, so what I do when I first have a property that comes across my desk, the first thing that I do is I go to the county assessor's website. So I'm going to try and show you guys. I'm going to show you an actual deal that I did, and how I was able to put it together quickly and what the results were. So I'll just take you all the way through my evaluation process on it, and just what I did. So actually, before I show you this here, let me go to, yeah, no, we're not connected. Can't get on there. It's my computer. So like Danny, this came to me through a wholesaler. And it was, app can't open. Resolution is too low for reader to run. What? I swear I hate Windows 8. Open, can't open.
Click on the link, it gives you the option to change the resolution.
Oh, it does? Change screen resolution. Okay, what do I want to change it to?
The highest possible.
Oh, it's too low. Why is the resolution so small? Like up to here?
Yeah.
Okay. Apply. Okay. Keep changes.
Time for Windows 7 for
1024 by 760.
Scott! Do what? 1024 by 768?
Well, I was just reading what it said up.
Let's try that one. Okay. So this deal came to me, and actually, let me open this one up here. No, not that one. Thurston, right here. Keep the value, there we go. Okay, this was from Steve Stevens, and this is what he sent out on this property. And this is one of the properties I showed last month at our club on the before and after pictures. So this is one that Steve Stevens sent out as a wholesale deal. So, you know, it looks just like most properties that we get good deals on. It looks kind of rough. He did his numbers on here. So, you know, he says it's got a ARV of 142, purchase price is 77,000. He said the rehab cost is about 22,000. Here's some pictures of the property. I wish it looked this nice when I bought it. These must have been some pictures before they started, I don't know, doing what they did to it, because it didn't look this good when I bought it. Even this didn't look this good, this moldy area. And actually, my private investor almost didn't do the deal because of this picture, and it wasn't because of the mold. And so this was a really bad, nasty deal as far as the property is. The downstairs, the mold was all the way up to the ceiling. You know, it was probably 3 inches of water on the floor, but it was black water. We wasn't really sure where it was coming from. We discovered that it was, we're pretty sure that it was coming up from the toilet downstairs. We think what happened is they just, the sewer line got clogged, so we did have to snake it out. But the toilet was just all overflowing. I mean, it was just nasty, nasty. So we totally, well, I'll tell you what we did to it. But so I'm looking at the numbers, and it's like $70,000 for this property. I need to figure out if I'm going to buy this thing or not. You know, when you look at them, this is like a big deal. This is going to be a major rehab. So what I did is I went to the county website, and I pulled it up just to kind of get an idea of what the tax assessed value of it was, and it came up to about $122,009. You can't really totally gauge everything on the tax assessed value, but it is a good place to start. I want to see what the tax assessed value is, but really what I'm looking at is what are the other statistics on the home, like what year is it built? This is the garage, and right here is the house itself was built in '48. It's about a 1,600 square foot home, so it's a decent sized square foot home. And they have it registered as a 3-bedroom to basically a 2-bath home. So I like it a lot of times when I can see that it's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath home, but it's got a full basement, that I can change that into a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, which we ended up totally redoing the bathroom downstairs, putting it in a different location and all that. I also look at previous sales to just kind of get an idea of what the history has been, what's happened on this house. And then, you know, taxes, what are the taxes on the property? So that's the first thing I do, is just look at the tax value of the house. Now, I'm a licensed real estate agent, so I can go in and do a CMA on the house as well. If you're not a licensed agent, I'm going to show you how you can evaluate it not being an agent. But really, if you can get an access, I'll show you a property where I did a CMA on that gives you a better example. But one of the things that you can do, again, this is just the quick and dirty, right? This isn't your exact numbers. It's just to give you an idea if you think that there's some value in here. But right now, I'm seeing, yeah, there's some potential value. The tax assessed value is about 120-some thousand. He's selling for 70, so it's got to be worth more than 70. Now, if I put 22 into it, like he says, that puts me at what, 70, 80, 92,000, right? So I still got some value in there. But I'm hoping that we can do better than that. It's not really enough that I really want to make an offer on. So I'm just going to go to Zillow. So what I want to look for on Zillow are sold properties in the area. And so just looking at this as just a rough, again, Zillow's not perfect either. You got to do your numbers. But one thing Zillow will tell you is what has sold in that area. And you know, you're not going to really know a whole lot about the properties that have sold. I mean, you can kind of get in here and see, okay, this is, you know, 4-bed, 2-bath, about 2,500 square foot home here that sold. And you can click on it a little bit more and see the, you know, more information on it. Let's go down here because it's where the property actually is. Okay, so this is my sale right here, $60,000. I bought it for $60,000. I paid a $10,000 assignment fee on this property. This sale wasn't here when I bought the home. This one, let's see, when was this one? This one was. This sold on 12/21. I bought the home in January 17th, I think, is when I closed. So this sale, we did have this sale at 160. So, you know, I'm seeing it's a 3.2. It's a lot bigger though, 2,200 square feet. So I'm thinking, okay. This house was right across the street. It was for sale for 156. Let's see. So, can I pull that? So let me pull up that other. Oh, I'm sorry, I've been getting over this cough. So what I did is I pulled up this the flyer from across the street just to kind of get an idea of what's for sale. So this is a 4-bed, 2-bath home, 1,900 square feet, and they're asking $159,000 for it. So I'm thinking there's more value than than $122,000. So, you know, maybe $140,000. So the thing that Steve Stevens does is he has an agent come out and do comps on the properties, so he's got a pretty good idea of what the value is. So his 140 was a pretty solid number if I wanted to sell it, depending on the rehab that I did. Danny does the same thing. He has the same guy, Tim Ray, that does a lot of comps for him when he sends out his wholesale deals. So there's Tim Ray is really good at, he knows Spokane very well, isn't it?
Yeah,
he comes pretty close on his rehabs.
Yeah.
I mean on his numbers.
He was off by I just sold my rehab, and he was off by $2,000.
By $2,000. That's, if you can find somebody that can get within $2,000 of value, that's pretty good.
Is that after you get it done or before?
It was done. All the renovation was done in the market.
So you came in?
Oh no, when he did his CMA. Before.
So here's the aerial view of this house. It's right here. What I was really intrigued about this house property. This is the property right here. So yeah, it's like I think it's about an acre. So I went down to the city and the valley, Spokane Valley, and asked them if I could subdivide that. And I showed them kind of, they looked up the property and they said, oh yeah, absolutely. So my plan is to put a road in right here and create a lot right here and another lot, back here with this road, and I got to put my hammerhead in there, in right here. But I basically got a house and 2 lots for $70,000 plus the rehab costs of the house. So for me, that was, wow, it's almost a no-brainer. But let's do the quick and dirty numbers on it. Quick and dirty are, I just got a real simple spreadsheet. Okay, close file.
So did you take into consideration subdividing before you bought it, Chris, or is that something that you kind of realized later on?
I did, yeah, before I bought it. I'd have that potential, but I didn't buy it because of that. It had to make sense. Always a bonus for me. Cash flow am I getting from that right now? Nothing. So I have to make sure that the deal works by itself. Man, I'm sorry, guys. I am not. How do I get out of here now? Yeah, I'm hitting the Windows key. There we go. So what I do is, a lot of times I'm at the house to look at it, if make it work. So, and a lot of times what I do is I just pull up a spreadsheet from one that I have already done, and I just change the numbers. So on this one here, what I did is I said, okay, if I'm going to buy it for 70, it's about a 22,000 rehab. I'm going to need to get a loan for about $100,000 is what I figure. And if I figure a sale price of 100, he said 140, what do you say, 140, 145? So I'm just going to use his numbers, 145. Now if I'm going to flip the property, excise tax, so the 100,000 is going to cover my purchase, my rehab, and my my holding costs. So I'm thinking I got to have everything in there. This 69% loan to value is based on what I think what the comps are. So that's the first thing I look at is what is my loan to value. I want to be under 70%. Now I prefer to be under 65%. So this one, I see it's at 69%. So if I see it 69%, I'm going to do even more research to see if I could get a higher value on this house. What do I need to do to increase the value? Is there anything else in the area that would help me increase the value on this house? Because 69% is kind of borderline. I mean, I'd really like to have 65 or lower of my value. What's that? Great question. So the question he had was, what strategy am I basing this on? My strategy is a lease option strategy, but I still want to know, I have multiple exits. My primary exit is the lease option strategy. So I'm looking for money for long-term holds because I want to maximize the profit potential on this property, and the best profit potential I have is if I hold the property for the long term and get the cash flow on the property and then sell it at a later date. But if I can lock in a sale price today from somebody with a lease option, I don't have to have the headache of managing the property because it's a rent-to-own type situation. Rob never sells anything, so he just does rentals. It's against his religion to sell anything. So that's a great question. My number one exit strategy when I'm looking at a property is, what is my long-term potential? Now, what is the one thing that's going to determine whether I can lease option this or not? Anybody know? Return on investment? No.
Long-term interest rate on the money?
Long-term interest rate on the money, kind of, sort of. You're close. Price point? He's closer. The one thing that's going to determine if I can lease option this. The money that I have on the property. Do I have hard money that's coming due in 6 months? Or do I have an investor that's going to loan me the money for 15 years? If I have an investor that's going to loan me the money for 15 years, or I have a joint venture partner that's in this for a great return, I can do a rent-to-own strategy. I can do a lease option. If I have hard money, I have to X out one of my strategies. Now, when I go into buying a piece of real estate, the strategies, my exit strategies are, my number one, so exit. So my number one exit strategy is lease option. My number two exit strategy is flip. And then my number three exit strategy is just rent. I'll just rent it out. The reason that's my last strategy is because when I first got into real estate, I loved my tenants because they're paying my mortgage. I'm putting my heart and soul into these properties. I'm fixing them up. I'm providing good housing, nice, clean housing for tenants. And 11 months later, the property's trashed. They move out, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe they did that to me. Why did they do that? Oh, well, let's go fix it up again. Maybe I just got a bad tenant. I didn't screen them properly. How often does that happen? Rob, how often do tenants actually, let me reverse this. How many tenants actually take impeccable care of your real estate?
All of them.
Oh, all of them. All of them. Yeah, so.
The great thing is I can do my own evictions on cheap.
Yeah. So I started having an account that I was built up with Rob because, I don't know, it seems like every 11 months their lease is coming due in the 12th month. So the 11th month or 8th, 9th month, they stop paying rent because they need to save up. They've trashed it so much. They need to they want to move. And so here's the tenant strategy I figured out. You move into a place, you never clean the floors, you never clean the counters, you never clean anything. You just live there for about 8 or 9 months, and then don't pay rent for a couple months and take that money and move into a nice clean place that somebody else cleaned for you. And you do the same thing over and over again. So, I don't know. I may be a little bit jaded for rentals, but I just decided I didn't like doing rentals. When I changed over from the rental strategy to the lease option strategy, well, there was 2 reasons. One, I was flipping a lot of properties, and 2, when the market crashed and I couldn't flip properties. The second thing was, when I had all these properties that I really had to start managing and maintaining, I would get them all occupied, and then as soon as I get them all occupied, this set would go vacant, and I'd get this set all occupied, and this set would go vacant, or this one, and it was just like this. And it's like, I'm not making any money on rentals. If I'm only cash flowing $200-300 a month, who can live on that? Unless you have a lot of properties, or I have another job. I didn't want to go get another job. I love real estate. My job was real estate. I was flipping properties. That's how I was making a lot of money. But now all of a sudden, my job went away. Just couldn't flip properties in 2008. So I got some mentorship, some training, and some help. And John Burley, actually, he's the one that turned me onto this strategy, was the lease option strategy. So that's my number 1 strategy. But if I can't find the financing, if I'm not able to find the financing in time, then that strategy is now gone, and I have to flip the property. So my quick and dirty is, I want to look at all possible strategies going into the deal. What happened here? So this one here is basically, I have a loan for $100,000. That includes everything. Now I have another spreadsheet where I break all of these numbers down in more detail, where I clean it up. That's my long and clean, if that makes sense. But this is, I want to know, just real quick, can I make this deal work? So if I sell it for $145,000, I'm going to have excise tax. I'm not really, I don't have a commission in here right now. I'm a licensed broker, real estate broker. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in, since I'm a broker myself, I can pay whatever I want in a commission. So I'm going to put in, 4.5% commission, just to move it quickly. I'm going to pay about $1,000 in closing costs. I got to pay back my loan. So all total, my costs are going to be about $110,000. My profit's going to be $34,894. Is it a go or no go? So yeah, I'm going to write it up. It's that simple. It's not complicated. Now I'm going to write it up. I'm going to get an inspection. I'm going to take my inspection and figure out if if I can maybe get my price down, my acquisition cost down a little bit based on the inspection. This particular one, because it was a wholesale deal and it was a private party, I didn't beat the price down anymore. I felt I was getting a pretty good value on this one, so I didn't do that. So I didn't.
Flip it to that price point.
This is a retail. This would be a retail flip.
You get an agent, you sell it.
What's that?
You sell it on the market.
This is if I sell it on the market, and this is I would list it myself, but I'm paying an agent 4.5% as opposed to their normal 3% because I want to sell it fast. Now this particular deal I didn't want to flip because if I flip it, what am I losing?
Short an acre.
Hmm?
Half an acre.
Right. How long does it take to do a short plat, Rob? A year. Yeah, Gary, you've done a few of them.
Yeah, Spokane Valley,
Mhm.
will count on a year.
So at least a year. So really, that's a short plat. It's like a short sale. So I really want this strategy because it opens up a lot of options for me. So that's what I did. Is I put together Oops. So I put together this summary of investment opportunity, and I sent it out to all my investors. I'm looking for a loan for $100,000. I'm looking for it to be a 15-year note, 7% interest. I'm willing to pay 3 points. Here's all the specifics to the property. I'm buying it for $70,000. My closing costs, the points that I'm willing to pay, rehab's going to be about $20,000. Emergency fund about $5,000, so all total is $100,000. So I'm just showing what I'm paying for or how the money is going to be spent.
This is where your money goes.
This is where your money's going. It's how it's going to be used. The home's located in a nice South Valley area. It's in a very good, desirable neighborhood, situated on almost an acre lot, perhaps 2 or 3 lot short plat for additional profit potential. I tell a little bit about the home. And then a little bit of numbers. I think I can rent to own for $179 as opposed to flipping it for $145. And then considering the home directly across the street is on the market for $159. And then the work that I'm going to do, possibly a new roof, maybe repair it. I'm going to gut the downstairs, do the water damage, put egress the downstairs bedrooms, clean it up. And then I send out the flyer and then the pictures of the property and the overview, everything that I got from Steve Stevens. So I send that out to my investors. Now, the better way to do this, and this is where Oscar and I are talking about, is to find the money first. If I had the $100,000 in my bank account right now, if I'm working with an investor and I've already got the $100,000 in my account, I don't have to worry about, when I get this under contract, I don't have to worry about running out and trying to find the money and what up with on this property. If I already have the account, then I already know, and then I can go in and make my offer a little bit more. As a matter of fact, if I would have had the $100,000 in my account when I did this, I probably would have offered $65 cash closing in 5 days or 10 days. It probably would have saved me $5,000. But because I didn't have the money in my account, I knew I'd have to go find the money. I gave him what he was asking. I knew I was paying him a $10,000 assignment fee, but I knew I was going to have to go to work to find the money. Yeah.
In there, you're specifically doing a 7% interest and some points for the money as opposed to splitting the monthly profit.
This is I own it. I'm not joint venturing with. So there's a great question. So he asked on the interest rate. So if I'm doing a joint venture with an investor, I'm not even looking for a loan. There's no.
Right. You're just asking them to put up the $100,000.
Right. Now, if I was bringing in a joint venture investor on this, then we'd split the deal 50-50 and take it from there. So let me show you what happened on this. Oops. There we go. Boy, thanks for putting up with me, guys, on this.
Do you always put in a financing contingency, so in case you do not find financing in there? Because you said you put it under contract and you go looking.
Yeah, you want to have a financing contingency. Yeah, for sure. But really, unless and that's why this spreadsheet is really important, is because when I did my comps on it, my comps actually came out a lot higher than what Steven, I felt I could probably sell it for higher because I knew the kind of rehab that I was going to do to it would be better than just an average rehab. So I was pretty confident I would be able to find the money on it. But yeah, there's a financing contingency because things happen, and the financing does fall through, and But if I'm going to put a property under contract, I want to close it. You know, I don't want to get out of it because of financing.
Question, since you bought this knowing about the problems in the basement, right?
Uh-huh.
Where'd you come up with the $22,000 estimated repair costs?
Great question.
On this one, weren't you going off of Steve's original numbers?
Uh-huh, it's going off Steve's original numbers. This is,
How close was he?
he was actually pretty close. So, let's see. So I'll answer your question in just a sec here. So this is the house. Okay, so that was the house when I bought it, and that's the rehab after. Just to get, I'm going to show you this, and then I'll tell you the numbers.
Did you do a new roof or just
New roof,
But that's not a new finish outside, it's just a paint job.
paint job, shutters. We put the egress windows down here. We put, it had cinder block foundation, so we put slate on the foundation. I tore out the steps that were here. It was all falling apart. I poured a whole new concrete. I didn't tear them out. I broke them down enough that I could pour a whole new concrete step over the top of it. We put the posts in, changed out all the windows, put the shutters in, new roof, and gutted the basement. So here's what I did on the basement. So he asked what it costs to swab out the basement. I put an ad on Craigslist that I was looking for some labor work, and I ended up with about 100,000 responses.
Times are tough out there.
Yeah. So, and actually I had a guy that was working for me go through it and interview the ones that actually had decent information. And so we came up with about 6 or 7 guys that were good potential, good candidates. And so I had all 7 guys come over to this house at the same time, and I said, you guys ever watch the show Survivor? Seriously, that's what I said. I said, you ever watch the show Survivor? I said, I'm hiring you for the day, and I'm evaluating your work ethic. Your job today is to clean out this basement. I've got a 40-yard dumpster here, and I want this basement cleaned out in 2 days, gutted to the studs. You never seen guys work so hard. That basement was totally gutted and cleaned up around the yard in 2 days. And the labor was cheap, $10 an hour. I don't know if I violated any OSHA laws or anything on that, but so, what's that? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a good thing.
Stop being so generous.
So that's what the kitchen looked like when I bought it, not what the pictures were. And that's what it looked like afterwards when we finished it. And that's another view of the living room going into the kitchen, and that's what it looked like when we finished it. Oh, that's another property we did. So to answer your question, what did it cost? That's where I get to the more, there's all these softwares out there, all these different programs and how to do this, that, and the other, and I bought them. And softwares. Okay. I'm not the only one. And I don't know, just the spreadsheet is just so easy for me. I just go in, I just figure it out, and so I created this spreadsheet here. This actually came from my short sale days. So it used to be where I had just one line here where I'm figuring out my...
We're still looking at the picture.
Oh, you guys still look at the picture? Well, don't look at the picture. Look at my spreadsheet. Okay, so when the market started crashing, I didn't know what was happening, what was going on. My original spreadsheet was, I'd figure out what are my buying costs, what are my loan costs, what are my holding costs, my fix-up costs, and it's pretty basic, and then I'm going to sell the property, what are my sell costs? And what I wanted to look at is all these numbers, my buying costs, loan costs, holding costs, fix-up costs, selling costs, what are all these numbers, and what's my purchase, and so the total deal costs, and then what's my profit going to be? Well, when the market started crashing, it used to be I'd put a property on the market and I'd sell it real fast. Now all of a sudden I'm going, I got to figure out a different way to evaluate these things. So I added 3 columns. I put in a high. Okay, this is what I think I can sell it for if everything lines up perfect. Then I put in an average. Okay, an average type situation because I'm flipping the property. But if I have to just wholesale this thing and get out from underneath of it, so I got different numbers here of an estimated selling price. I go back and I actually fine-tune the numbers, get my estimates and everything. And then I have over here, what did it actually cost me to do all this, so I can go back and how close I am to the actual deal, to what I did. But I had to put these 3 things in here because and I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, how come I can't sell this house? Why? I guess everybody else was smarter than me. They just stopped buying properties before I did. Because I'm still buying properties, trying to flip them. I get them all done, and I can't get it sold. I thought I was just trying to sell it too high. But this has actually worked out pretty good for me, because what I did in doing this, remember I said that the challenges in your life create opportunity to learn and change for the better. So this was a change for the better that came for me, because I have the grand total deal costs here, and then I have a projected profit if I'm going to flip it of what I would profit based on these numbers. Now sometimes I've done this where I've got like 30,000 over here on the high and like 20,000 on the low, but I'll put a fire sale down there where I just need to get out from underneath this because I'm tired of making mortgage payments, and that may be a negative number like $1,000, but I'll still do the deal because it's worth the risk of losing $1,000 for the gain of possibly making $45,000. So on this deal, here's what actually happened. I actually, because the rehab was so nice, the house across the road sold for $155,000. And so I marketed this on a lease option for $8,000. Does that sound like I'm like totally taking advantage of these people?
They paid it.
What's that?
They paid it, right?
Yeah, they paid it. What do you think they asked me? What's everybody asked me when I tell them it's $198,000? House across the road just sold for $155,000. How are you selling it for? Yeah, how'd you come up with that number? Why are you selling for $198,000? What do you think I tell them?
Doing a 15-year lease option.
Right. I do a long-term lease option. But the other thing I say is, you're right, it did sell for $155,000. How come you didn't buy it? How come they didn't buy it?
Can't go to the bank.
They can't get financing. They can't get financing for who knows how long. Now, I'm not one of those guys that does a lease option for 2 years, 2 or 3 years, then they can't get financing and I'll kick them to the curb like a lot of investors do. I think that's very immoral and unethical. So a lot of times the question I get is, how many of your people actually are able to exercise their option? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm giving them an opportunity, and I do a forever lease option. It's better than renting, and they can be there literally forever and have the house paid down pretty substantially, but the price is still $198,000 whether they cash me out in 5 years or 10 years or 15 years. Why? Because I'm going to make $94,000 when they cash me out on this deal. $94,000 is enough. Now, this $94,000 is going to be paid out over time. Part of it's going to be paid out over time because of the way I structure their payment. At the end of the deal, bless you, by the way. At the end of the, whenever they cash it out, I won't get a check for 94 because I give them a lot of rent credit based on the rent that I get through the term. But that's pretty exciting. Is that exciting to anybody to be able to do something like that? To know that if I have multiples of these set up, that eventually they'll some cash out, especially with do it and them. I'm not just getting the guy that couple here that got this. They just moved up here from Florida. New jobs, new financial situation. They knew that it was paying a premium. I told them it's a premium. I told them it wouldn't appraise for that right now. I'm very clear, very very transparent with our structure. But they're very thankful for the opportunity to get into a place that they can call their own, their home, and do whatever they want and not have to worry about the landlord saying, no, you can do that or can't do that or whatever. I mean, they've already repainted walls different colors that I'm like, well, I don't really go and paint it that color. I kind of like my colors better. But I live in there, but they didn't paint it black or anything like that. And they're taking very good care of the home. I don't have, and here's the other thing. They pay me rent via certified mail, and I get it on the 28th of the month or 25th of the month versus me tracking them down and beating it out of them like a lot of tenants. So this is just some information here on the ARV. If what was this for? I forgot. Why do I have this? I don't remember why I have that. I'm not explaining it because I don't remember. I think it was ARV for financing. But so does anybody have any questions so far about this? Now this isn't the quick and dirty spreadsheet. This is the one that I clean up to really see what this is what do I think it's going to cost me to do this deal, if it's going to make sense. And when I did this, I was like, yeah, this is going to make sense, and I can change these numbers. I could put in the 100 and, after I did the after I did all the comps and everything, I thought I would be able to I could sell this for, because it was really nice. When I looked at the other house that sold for 155 or whatever, our house totally beat this one. And if I had to sell it right away with all the acreage, I figured I'd be able to get.
How long did it take you to find the lessee?
It was less than 6 months from the time I bought it to the time I got it occupied.
So by the time you put it on the market?
And it was I had it on the market for probably about 30 days.
Signs in the front yard?
Signs in the front yard, Craigslist ads. Yeah. I think that's all I did. Question?
Is there a certain percentage over market value that you use to establish the price of your lease option?
So his question is there a certain percentage over market value that I use to establish the lease option? Yes and no. Yes, if somebody wants to know how I came up with the $198,000, I'll go in and figure it out, which the percentage is I go 4%. So I'll take whatever my CMA is. I'll find my CMA. If it's $150,000, I'll add 4% and then add 4% to that and 4% to that, and I take it out 5 years. And that's about what appreciation is. But most of the time, I just kind of guess at what I think I can get in value, and a lot of it comes like that first 30 days. The kind of the feedback that I'm getting. I originally had 179,000 on it for the lease option, and the guy fell through. But didn't bat an eye at that. And I thought, you know, he 179, I wonder if I could get 189. So then I put 189, and nobody really seemed to bother about that. And then so I raised it to 198. And they just didn't have the down payment money, but they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I think we could do that. But they didn't have the down payment that was required to do the deal. And so then I put it at 198, and it worked. So does anybody have any questions about this?
What was the term of the lease option for this?
So the question was, what is the term of the lease option? Separate agreements. So I have a 12-month. My original, this was 12-month lease and a 5-year option to purchase. Totally separate agreements. I've kind of changed my program a little bit since then, where my lease option program is I do 3.5% down is what's required for the option payment with a minimum of $2,900 down. So in this situation, let me go 155. So if the purchase price is 198 equals that times 0.035, so $6,900 is the option amount that's required on this. So instead of $6,930, I say the option's $7,000. I just round it up. I'm not going to say $6,930. Why is it 3.5%? What's that?
It's the same as a commission.
Commission? Nope. Huh? FHA, yeah, who's that? FHA down payment. Yeah, close. FHA requires 3.5%, and so I want to set them up to have the down payment when it comes time for them to get financing. So that's why I set it up that way. But my program is I'll let them in for a minimum of $2,900, and I'll finance the difference. I'll finance the down payment, the balance on that. So if they come in with $3,000, for example, $3,000, then $4,000 is left due is left owing on the option. So my program I changed is that to get that $4,000 is instead of doing a lease, a 12-month lease, I do a month-to-month rental agreement now. And as soon as they pay that full option, then I'll convert it to an actual lease. Just because I've ran into a situation where I got a bounced check from the option payment, which I shouldn't have taken to begin with, but that was my bad. But so now I do month-to-month agreements, and I thought, and that motivates them to get that option paid in full. The other thing that I do is once the option's paid in full, I give them rent credit off the monthly amount they're paying. So they're paying $12.95 a month. I think this one's $12.95 or $12.95 a month. And as soon as they pay that full $7,000, I give them $200 a month in rent credit to incentivize them to pay me in full, but also to help them take down that $198,000. So that $200 a month they get because they pay on or before the first of the month. That's why I get the check on or before the first of the month instead of on the 5th. And I have a fabulous assistant that's keeping track of all this for me. What time do we have? I don't have my 8:09.
Okay, it's your computer?
Oh, yeah. Oh, right there. Thank you.
I was making these last time, so I didn't want to.
So does anybody have any questions about this? Oscar.
Your quick and dirty, for example, for your rehab, you went off of what's his name? Steve gave you. When you went to this longer one, that's after looking through it, how is it just based off of experience, or how do you come out with your numbers?
Okay, so when I went to this other one, let's see. Okay, in-show, there we go. Okay, so most of the time, my quick and dirty, so his question was, the numbers that I got was off of Steve. Actually, most of the time, I have my numbers myself. I go in and I figure, okay, it's going to be this, 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 and this. You know, a roof is going to be 5,000. It's going to take me 2,000 to freshen up the kitchen, and and I just throw some numbers just from experience. And you'll get there where you just kind of know. This one they'd already did the numbers for me, so I just plugged them in, but then I went back and figured out my own numbers on that.
It's kind of what I do on my spreadsheet. I've got high, medium, and really nice finishes, and then I've just gone to like Home Depot and things and priced them all out, so I know when I walk in, okay, if I want to do this, this is a really nice neighborhood, I need to do a high-end kitchen, it's going to cost me X because I've already priced out what an X is.
So here's another flyer that or another way that I send out information to investors when I'm looking for a deal. So I'll say investment opportunity, and I'll just give the details of the loan. So like this one here, I'm looking for a loan for $25,000. The term is going to be 12 months or sooner. The interest is 12% with a $3,000 prepayment penalty. The loan to value is 70%. It is a second deed of trust. So in this one here with the $3,000 prepayment penalty, actually, I got another one that shows it even better.
12 months, that's really for a flip.
Right, this one's for a flip. So this one's a little bit easier to read that I put out. Kind of just goes down the details of the property, $25,000 behind $120,000 second. There's a $75,000 cushion of equity in addition to their investment. So, with the value at $220,000, $52,000 cushion of equity. So what that means is if an investor invests $25,000, there's still $75,000 of equity in that. Because sometimes it's the LTV. They may not really understand the LTV if it's a private investor, but they know that there's $75,000 on the high side, and on the average, $52,000 in the middle, and $113,000 on the high side, based on the comps, the high, low, and medium comps. And then this one is a 12-month interest, a 12-month with a prepay in the first year. So the prepay is, I actually modified this, so the total payoff is $28,000 because they get $3,000 on this. So the interest that they're going to make on this, if I pay it off in 120 days, is 36%. If I pay it off in 160 days, it's 24% return with that $3,000 prepay, because it is a second position. So I'm being very generous on this because it is a second deed of trust. Now, how did I figure that out? That I could afford that? What I did is I went right to my quick and dirty. I have a loan on it for $125,000. If I sell it right now on a quick sale at $189,000, not finishing up the rehab, I have a potential profit of $51,000. But it's going to be a lot harder to sell it right now, not totally finishing the rehab. So if I put in $25,000 here, and they automatically I already had done this in advance. The 12% interest on the $25,000 is $3,000. But now I'm going to completely rehab the property. Well, finish up the rehab. The CMA is $225,000, so let's sell it for $219,000. This is a flip. I still make $51,000, but I'm going to sell it for a lot fast. I'm going to sell it a lot faster because it's done. So it's worth it. Now here's the other thing that I did on this. The commission here, 4.5% to the selling agent to ensure a quick sale. And then property details. This is on the South Hill. Oops. So charming 3-bed bungalow. So this one I was actually going to put hold for the long term, but I decided to go ahead and flip this because I need the 51,000. So that's why I put that out there. But having and it's real easy. Anybody can. Does anybody know how to use or not know how to use Excel? I mean, you don't know. You don't know how to use Excel.
I've never had
It's just a calculator on a. It's really easy. I didn't know how to use it when I first got started, a few years ago, and I just started playing with it and I figured it out. So yeah, it's just math.
The nice thing is it's so customized.
Yeah, there's so many things you can do with it.
This is what these costs are. You just put in the percentages and they're just there.
Mm-hmm. So is this helpful for you guys? This is more of the 5% tech on how to do a quick and dirty deal. But a quick and dirty evaluation. The thing about it is get out there and don't overanalyze the deal. Just get in there, figure it out. If it makes sense with your numbers. I was going to go over some deals with that you guys may have, but I don't think we have enough time. It's already 8:15, and my wife said, "Please don't be late tonight." She's the boss. So, does anybody have any questions? Anything else? No. Any other questions about real estate in general? Yes.
Private lenders
Uh-huh.
have access, or do you know anybody who will lend money right now?
Yes, there are.
Any referrals, I should say, I guess?
Yeah, there's. It depends. My model is the joint venture with the investor. A lot of the hard money lenders, they won't loan. They won't loan the full value like this one. I mean, I was able to get purchase plus rehab on this without a private investor. This was through a broker.
Usually 80% of it.
Yeah, they'll usually only loan a percentage of the actual purchase. So if I bought this for $60,000, because that's what my purchase was, well, they probably would have loaned on the 70, because that's what my costs were. They'll take that into consideration. But they would only loan on the 70,000 equals that times 0.065. They're only going to loan $45,000 on that. So I have to come up with $55,000. Oops. Why'd that do that?
You put 6.5%.
Oh, 0, yeah, sorry. So they'll only loan $45,000 on this, so I still have to come up with $55,000. Does anybody have $55,000? You don't have to raise your hand. Well, if you do have $55,000, come see me afterwards. But even if you do have $55,000 and you put into this, how many more deals can you do? I mean, that's it. You can only do one deal. So being able to learn how to do this at like a business where you're not relying on what you have in Hip Pocket National Bank, but relying on joint ventures and investors, you can do more. Just don't do too much at once. That's wisdom. I think I talked about that in here. Wisdom. Anyway, so yeah, there's investors, but my recommendation would be to just start networking with, get into networking groups and start talking to people that, like Oscar and I we're doing a presentation. I'm teaching them how to do an investor presentation. It looks like he's already got his first investor. So give Oscar a hand. It's really just getting out and talking to people. SEC, you can't advertise for investors. It really has to be somebody that you know, when, unless you're going to somebody that has a business that loans money. So it is a little bit of a challenge. You got to watch what you're doing. So, all right, anybody, any other questions? That's all I have.